All right, so section 9.6, guys, is the Pythagorean theorem and radical equations. We're only really going to be doing the Pythagorean theorem here, okay? So you may remember a little bit of this from high school. If you don't, that's okay. We're going to go through it. But this is something that they kind of drilled to you all in high school a whole lot. If you remember it, great. If not, don't sweat it. We're going to go through it here with this video. Okay, so Pythagorean theorem. Number one, we're going to have a right triangle. A right triangle, guys, just means that that angle right there is going to measure 90 degrees, okay? And we're going to have two legs, right? The two sides that are close to that kind of form that 90 degrees. Those are what we call the legs. And then the side that's opposite of that, that's what we call the hypotenuse, all right? And so the Pythagorean theorem just says if you take the first leg and you square it, you take the second leg and you square it, and you add them together, that's going to give you the hypotenuse squared, okay? So a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but that's in essence what it means. So these problems here, guys, in 9.6, a lot of these problems are basically like a stare and compare type problem, all right? So let's see if we can kind of figure out what's going on here. It says use the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of the third side of each right triangle. Leave any irrational answers in radical form. All right. So if I kind of do a little stare and compare, it just looks like this triangle here is just kind of flipped from this one here. But remember, the hypotenuse is always the side opposite of that little box. So in this case, my hypotenuse is going to be that number. That's going to be my C, okay? And if you notice, they're calling this one leg A and leg B. Well, this already says a B, so let's keep that as my B. So then my A will be equal to 6, okay? So guys, if I just write out the formula, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. It's telling me right here, A is 6, so I'm going to put 6 squared, okay, plus B squared, I don't know what B is, that's what the letter was there, equals C, which in this case is 9 squared, okay. So 6 squared, remember 6 squared means 6 times 6, which is 36, plus B squared equals 9 squared, 9 times 9 is 81, okay. I'm trying to get the letter B all by itself, so I'm going to go ahead and minus 36 on both sides, okay. And that's going to give me B squared equals, let me take my calculator right here, so we can figure out what is 81 minus 36. And I'm coming up with 45, okay. So B squared equals 45. So in order for me to find the letter B, what I have to do, guys, I have to take what we call the square root of 45, okay. If B squared is 45, then B is the square root of 45, okay. So now, remember what we said earlier. This is the type problem we're doing in 9.2. I got to figure out how do I break down 45. So I'm just going to shift this over so I have a little bit more room. So remember, 45, I think of 9 times 5. And 9 I think of as 3 times 3. So look, here's my pair. So remember, the number that's going to come outside is the one that we have the pair of. This number is going to go back on the inside. And so there's my answer. Okay. All right. If you look at the next one here, guys, so I'm looking at this picture right here, right? And I want you just to do a little stare and compare to what we have over here. Well, look, this is A, oops, sorry. This is A, this is B, that's my C. Okay, so look, here's A, here's B, there's our C. So I'm going to write the formula down again, A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? So 8 squared plus 15 squared, equals C squared. Okay, 8 squared I already know is 64. 15 squared, guys, should be 225 equals C squared. I'm going to add those two numbers together. Okay, give me a second. Let me grab my calculator again. Let's see, let's clear this out. So 64 plus 225, coming up with 289. Okay, so 289 equals C squared. Now remember, guys, to find C, I'm going to take the square root of 289. All right, first thing is 289 is a pretty big number, right? Is it a perfect square? I have no idea. I'm going to find that out right now. So look, I'm going to do square root of 289. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. If it comes out to be nice and pretty, then we're good. Hey, nice and pretty, 17. So C in this case is equal to 17. If you're not certain, try taking the square root of it. If you come up with a nice whole number, then we're good. If not, then we're going to have to do what we did in this problem right here, which was, let's go ahead and break down that number on the inside, okay? Okay, so it says, refer to a right triangle with legs A and B and hypotenuse C. Find the exact length of the unknown side. Okay, this problem here, guys, similar to the one we just did, except it's just giving it to me in, like it's just giving me the values, not even actually drawing a picture for me, but that's okay. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? And it's already telling me what A and B are. So 10 squared plus 6 squared equals C squared. So that's 100, I know that, 10 times 10 is 100. 6 times 6 we said was 36 equals C squared. So 136 equals C squared. Let's double check. Let's see, is that going to be a nice pretty number? I don't know. Oops. Okay. So let me go like this. Square root of 136. Nope, not a pretty number. Okay, that's all right. So let's write it out here. C is equal to the square root of 136. I'm going to start dividing it. My first thing, guys, it's even. Let me divide it by 2. So let's see. What's 136 divided by 2? 68. Okay. So let's go like this. 2 and 68. Okay, I can divide that by 2 again. That's 2 and 34. I can divide that by 2 again. That's 2 and 17. All right, remember what we're looking for here. We're looking for the number that we have a pair of. Look, that's one pair of 2's, but this is only 1, 2, and 117. So because there's only 1, 2, and 117, I'm going to go ahead and multiply those numbers back together. That's going to give me my 34. But again, the number that I had a pair of was the number 2, and then the 34 goes back and stays on the inside, okay? Alrighty. Let's take a look at the next one here. It says, tenting, a guy rope is attached to the top of a tent pole. Okay, so here's my tent pole. And it tells me that tent pole is 8 feet tall. Okay. And the guy rope is pegged into the ground 5 feet from the tent. Okay, so there's a little peg right here. From here to here is 5 feet. And we have our rope tying it down. How long is the guy rope? Okay. They're asking me to find that piece. That's my C, okay? Excuse me, guys. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? Guys, it doesn't matter which one you call A and B because you're going to square them, you're going to add them together. So whichever one you want to call A is fine. So I'm going to go 8 squared plus 5 squared equals C squared. So 64 plus 25 equals C squared. So what is that, 89? Equals C squared, okay? I don't think that's a perfect square. And I don't know what I can divide 89 by. Let me take my calculator real quick, let's see. 64 plus 25, yes, is 89, okay. Can I divide it by 3? Let me check, nope. Times 3, okay. Can I divide it by 7? Nope. Times 7. Okay, can I divide it by 13? Maybe? Nope. Times 13. Okay. So let me see. What is the square root of 89 anyway? Oops, square root of 89. It's going to be 9 something, right? Yeah. So I don't think we can actually break that one down there, guys. So my answer here for this one is just going to be C is equal to the square root of 89. Okay, can't break it down. That's all right. Alrighty. So I got an O in here. It says flying a kite. A kite is flying on a string that's 100 feet long and is fastened to the ground at the other end. Okay. Assume that a string is a straight line. Okay. How high is the kite if it's flying above a point that is 20 feet away from where it's fastened to the ground? Okay. So, let's see. My kite, okay, this is 20 feet. And this here is 100 feet. Okay. And we're trying to figure out how high is that kite. Okay. It's supposed to be 100 feet. There we go. Okay. Because it tells me that the string is 100 feet long, right? and it says how high is a kite if it's flying above a point that's 20 feet away from where it's fastened to the ground. So here's my 20 feet. The kite's up here. We're trying to figure out how high is that right now, okay? So guys, look, there's my right triangle. I'm going to call that my C. Let's call this our A. Let's call this our B. Okay. So let's take a look here. We're going to go A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? So A is 20 squared plus B squared equals 100 squared. Well, that's going to be 400. This here should be, oops, why did it do that? This here should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 10,000, okay? When I minus 400 on both sides, okay, coming up with 9,600, okay? Now, guys, 9,600, let me double check. Maybe it's a perfect square, maybe it isn't. So second square root 9,600. Okay. No, it's not, because I get all this funky decimal business, right? That's okay. We can break this up. So guys, I'm going to think of this as 96 times 100. And I already know the square root of 100 is 10, right? Because there's a pair of 10s there. Okay, so that's going to help me. All right, now 96. Let me see, I bet you we can divide it by 2. So that's going to be 248. Okay, just go over here a little bit. This is going to be 2, 24, 2 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. And all I'm doing here, guys, I'm just breaking up my numbers till I can't anymore. All right, so I want you to think about this for a minute. Remember what we're trying to do. We're trying to take, go like this right here. We're trying to take the square root of 9,600, okay? And we want to see what that's going to be, okay? So notice, look, we already have a pair of what? We have a pair of 10s, so I'm going to put a 10 on the outside. Look, I have a pair of 2s, so I'm going to pair a 2 on the outside. I have another pair of 2s, so I'm going to put another 2 on the outside. These guys together, though, they are not paired up, right? One's a 2, one's a 3. So when I multiply them back together, notice the number that we end up with? We end up with a 6. That's the guy that has to stay on the inside. Okay. So the way I'm going to write my answer here, guys, look, 10 times 2, 20. 20 times 2, 40. 40 square root of 6, right? Boom. And we got our answer. Okay. All right. So let's take a look here at this next problem, okay? And see what it's asking us to do. All right, guys, so we're going to skip this problem here. It's just a little overkill, all right? So we're going to go ahead and ditch that one, but that is 9.6, okay?